Hey everybody, it is a sunny afternoon and I just finished cutting the lawn, so I thought now would be a good time to take a little walk around the yard, look at some of the flowers that are blooming. Not going to be a super inclusive yard tour. We're not going to look at every single plant we have because for one, would take way too long. For two, I could not possibly name all the plants, and for three, a lot of them aren't really doing much of interest at the moment, so we will just focus on the flowers today. And we've got some containers around the place that my wife likes to make every year. She usually does a pretty good job putting the containers together. So some of those are flowering, some of those aren't really going to flower, but they just look nice in their own right. The red, sort of fiery looking flowers you see around the pond are celosia. We have these all around the yard. It's some sort of native flower. I'm not sure what it is. We looked it up the other day and my wife told me what it was, but I can't remember. I think it's some sort of Mexican geranium. No, that's not a Mexican geranium. I think this is a Mexican geranium. We just bought that. That's probably why the name is in my head. But whatever these little pink wildflowers are, I really like them. I just mowed down about 1,000,000 of them as I was cutting the grass. I felt kind of bad about it, but what are you going to do? But we still have a lot of them around the periphery and the edges, so if you keep your eyes peeled, you might see more of those as we walk around the yard. So in the pond, we've got my pickerel rush starting to bloom. We got some nice purple flowers going on there. I have no idea what this is, but it's a really cool looking little flower. So I'm digging that. And then once we get into the gardens, we still have a lot left to go, but we're right at the beginning of peak flower. The yellow, or the coreopsis here. We've got purple coneflower, also known as echinacea. We also have white coneflower, also just echinacea, just a different color. So we have the white coneflower, the purple coneflower. A lot of that is up, but not actually blooming at the moment. A lot of these phlox are up, but not blooming at the moment. And this is what phlox looks like when it is in bloom. We have a few of the pink ones that are actually blooming already, but these are going to be probably a different color, maybe different sort of flower structure, or the clusters might look a little different. It's not the exact same phlox as that, which is why they're not blooming yet. We've got 1,000,000 tiger lilies around the yard that are not yet blooming. Our butterfly bush hasn't started to go yet. A lot of hosta hasn't even started to go yet, but it's just getting there. These are our anniversary lilies. Both this one and this one we bought on our anniversary, and these smell absolutely incredible. They smell different than each other, but both, each in their own right, smells absolutely incredible. Again, I do not know what this one is called, but this one is the Stargazer, and it's in full bloom right now. It's got like 1 or 2 flowers left to open, and that will just be in full display. Just absolutely off the shelf fantastic. Loving it. And once again, we have these little dainty purple flowers. We have these all over the place. Like I said, if you keep your eyes peeled, you'll see them everywhere. So these are the white cone flowers, in case you were wondering what the difference was. They look the same, except they're just white. And if you see all of these millions and millions of little stalks through here, that's all these hosta that are up but not blooming just yet. We have this coneflower starting to bloom. This is a really pretty one. That's just getting going. We have one single lonely coreopsis right there. We have a new hydrangea that we just planted last year right there, and I love the foliage because the foliage itself has a reddish tint to it, and then the flowers are just fantastic. I love them. So this is the first year we're seeing flowers on that. We planted it late last season, and it really took off and is doing well. And we'll see some more lilies like that that are gigantic, but you'll get a better idea of just how gigantic they are when I put them in contrast to my hands. So hydrangea up there is in full bloom. That's going crazy at the moment. You can have a look down at these lilies. That one's pretty, but that's just over the top crazy looking. Amazing. So let us see what else we've got going on right here on the hillside. Again, phlox galore, hostas galore. We're getting ready. We're so close. These are a lovely, lovely yellow lily, and these are not small, but they're not really huge either. But beautiful, beautiful shade of yellow. Love these, and really, really thick petals too. You wouldn't think they'd be as thick and tough as they are for flower petals, but these are almost as tough as a leaf. Very interesting. We have some wild impatient that are blooming. These will spread. We're trying to just get this entire hillside. Let me walk all the way down here. So eventually we're trying to get this whole hillside all the way down to more or less around here covered with garden. We're going to leave a walking path sort of down through here, and we're just going to extend the gardens all the way over, and then just this level part here, you know, and around you know, the sidewalk and on over to the truck, we're going to leave that yard, and then the rest, everything else is just going to become gardens. And so we're going to just keep working all this stuff out and spreading it around, and it'll get more and more grown in and filled in, etc. Here's another one of those yellow lilies. They're just fantastic, man, with the sunshine on them. They're just crazy looking. How's that for beautiful? Let me get the thumbnail right there. More of these wild impatiens. We finally got our bee balm starting to go off, and these flowers always look to me like a cross between like a harlequin hat and a firework going off. The butterflies absolutely love these. All the pollinators love the bee balm. Really, really cool flower. The deer don't eat them, and it's a balm, so it's very, very fragrant when you smell it. All right, moving on. Coming over to this corner, we got a lot to cover, and we're 7 minutes in already. So we have Maryland State Flower. This is Rudbeckia, or Black-Eyed Susans, as we call it here in Maryland. I don't know what these are, but we have these around the pond too, and they look like little teeny Black-Eyed Susans, but they're not. We just got these this year, and I do not know what they're called. Ooh, I dumped a bunch of hydrogen peroxide to kill the algae in the pond, and look at all, or in the water feature, and look at all the scum floating on the top now. That's gross. Tower of petunias. We're deciding whether or not to keep that, let that flow, or trim it back. So right now we're letting it flow. This is milkweed. We like the milkweed for the caterpillars, plus it's a beautiful plant. We have this black and blue salvia. It's black until it opens, and then it turns blue. That's a really cool looking one. We've got that in various places around the yard too. Coming over here, not a ton going on over here. This is stuff my wife has planted. I can't remember what it's called. This is dianthus. Is that dianthus or dahlias? I can't remember what this is either. And then this is 4 o'clocks. We got salvia back here. Not sure why we moved the fish planter, but the fish planter was over here. In fact, you can see exactly where the fish planter was sitting, which looked pretty cool, sitting in this sort of sea of creeping Jenny that's flowing out across the sidewalk. And then that fish planter sitting in there looked pretty neat, so I'm not sure why my wife moved that. But if we pan back a little, you can see this whole bed of daylilies is starting to bloom. The hydrangea in the back is blooming, and this always throws me. I always think, like, what is there? There's some weird pink hydrangea flower for some reason. This is phlox, and then the blue is the hydrangea. We have these daylilies. These are basically what I think of as roadside orange, but they are double heads. I'm not sure how we got all these double heads in here, but we have a lot of these double-headed roadside orange. See, that's a standard roadside orange. If you just look at this one, you see them commonly growing along the sides of streams and rivers, and again, just literally right along the roadside, you'll see those. So that is what this is, but it's a double. So again, very interesting, and all these are doubles for some reason. Not sure how we got that. We also have these red ones. Most of these are sort of passing their prime, but they're pretty significant. Unfortunately, We don't have any of these in bloom at the moment because this is the one that was up on the hill I was saying. You'll see how big they are when we get closer. These are absolutely huge. We still have more that are going to open, but we don't have any opened at the moment. So this is another one that's worth looking at. This is a big double head. You can see that double flower on there, double set of petals. That's a pretty one. So, alright, moving over towards the driveway area. Of course, this whole bed of daylilies is gone. We've got tiger lilies in there, but the tiger lilies have not yet opened. We're going to start interspersing other colors of daylilies in there. So next year, it won't just be this patch of roadside orange, which is the same thing we've been looking at since we moved in here. And we'll actually start to get some color turning out in here. Oh, good. The giant ones are blooming over here. These are so amazing. Look at these. These are so big. So this is like the one up on the hill. I said you'd see how big it was when we got up close. Huge flowers on them. The flower buds almost look like bananas before they open. They get so thick and fat. This one is awesome. This one is like a lemon cream color. Really, really pretty. We have these. These actually have a really, really thick, pillowy petal on them. Is that thunder I'm hearing off in the distance? We're supposed to get thunderstorms this afternoon. I hope it waits at least 15 more minutes till we can finish this up. This is a butterfly bush here, so at some point we'll have flowers all over that, but as of yet we do not. Well, that's a jet I hear in the distance. That's not what the same noise was. Alright, not a lot going on up there, so let's just walk right to the top of the hill and we can look at the top side of the garden on the way down, and then we'll go across and look at the Forbidden Garden. We have a reason. We actually usually call it the Verboten Garden, but I'll spare you. That is a hydrangea we've been nursing along, and it's doing well and flowering again. We have some hosta blooming back in the fern. Used to be the fern garden. It's just the fern area at this point. Another beautiful hydrangea. And this is that hydrangea we saw from the bottom looking up. This is an area my wife's been working on, doing different stuff in here. So we'll see how that turns out over time. But this hydrangea is a good looking one. We've got an amazing hydrangea to look at in just a minute. Excuse me. I didn't plant a single one of those hostas. They just got there. Well, you can see right here I stole some. We always have hostas if we need them. We want to plant a hosta somewhere. We got plenty. Another hydrangea. That's not the one we're going to be looking at in a minute. More hosta. Another hydrangea. This is a really good looking hydrangea too. But over here is the amazing hydrangea. Look at this one. These flowers are so huge. Look at the size of that flower. It's massive. These aren't shabby either. This one is just enormous. Love it. And the color is gorgeous. So this is where the path is going to go down and around into the yard. So you can see we got the daylily. I mean, the hostas are all blooming through here. And again, you can just see the sea of flower heads that are going to be blooming here fairly shortly. So we have more daylilies blooming up in there. And we've got various plants. The foxglove have already been and gone. Unfortunately, the foxgloves are really pretty, but they come kind of early. These are a wild daisy of some sort, and they grow all around this area, so we always just kind of leave those alone. That's just a weed, but I think they're really pretty. I really like that flower. No idea what it actually is, but it's some kind of weed. And this is our gooseneck loosestrife. It continues all the way over to that side, but if you look at the actual flower, you can see pretty easily why it is called the gooseneck loosestrife. So there is a loosestrife that grows with a more erect flower, where it doesn't have that sort of weird gooseneck shape to it. But this is the gooseneck loosestrife. We have one lonely little white lily out there all by itself. Some more bee balm down there, some more miscellaneous this, that, and the other thing. So let us go over to this side of the yard. And we have some lovely planters. This is brand new. This is a type of Coreopsis. This is also Coreopsis. That's going to be a canna or a canna lily. This is different. This is like the Coreopsis we saw on the other side of the yard. All like this is the same Coreopsis. And I cannot remember, is that salvia? These two purple plants? I think that's salvia. My wife got these and put them in there. And I believe we have some stuff planted in here, but I don't know if it's going to come up or not yet. These have all passed their flowers, but we have one left that we can still see, and it's a really pretty little red flower with yellow tips on it. And these were all completely covered with those a week or so ago. Not sure what that's called, but that is a brand new plant we just put in. I got my little garden established on our fallen log here. This seems to be doing well. It's creeping Jenny and fern and grass and weeds, but that's all right as long as stuff's rooting in and starting to grow. That makes me happy. So flower wise, we've got a lot of hosta going on in here, and we have got I'm going to sneeze in a minute, I think. I hope not. I don't think I've ever sneezed during a video before. So we have all of these Astilbe. These, we've got these. These are really pretty. Again, we're going to skip over looking at all the different various hostas and ferns and all the other stuff. We're just kind of here looking at flowers today. We're already 17 minutes in, so we need to keep moving along. So all these Astilbe, there are some goat's beard back here, or false Astilbe. Looks very similar to Astilbe. I may even accidentally call some goat's beard Astilbe on occasion. So we've got that. We've been nurturing this new oak leaf hydrangea that we bought a couple years ago, and so this is the first year we've had flowers on it. So far so good. The deer have left it alone. I was a little lax on spraying deer repellent this last month, and I was saying to the wife, you know, with all these flower heads, like, I really got to get out there. We're going to wake up one day and they're just going to be gone. And sure enough, we actually lost quite a few flower heads through here. It's no big deal. It's just these green hostas. We have them everywhere, but if you see all these tips, they've been nipped all over the place across here. And one of our hydrangeas, this hydrangea down here, got a few nibbles on it, and so that was definitely the warning that we needed to do something. And so I got out here and sprayed, and then it rained for 2 days, so I got to come out and spray again. But we do need to get the deer repellent sprayed out here. All right, I'm gonna have to do something about that. That's the second time I've tripped over that. This autumn fern looks fantastic. It's really happy where it's planted, apparently. And it's a bummer because not everything flowers at the same time, and you can see a lot of these Astilbe that were really brightly colored are past their prime, and they're now starting to fade. But it's almost impossible to get everything in the garden flowering at the same time. I like this too. This is an annual, but it's a really pretty little addition down there. And then this is a chocolate Astilbe. So we got that little bit of deer damage there, and we've got a little bit on this hydrangea. You can see the tips of that hydrangea got nibbled off, and that's it. That's all we got for deer damage. So that's not too bad for, you know, again, all of these flower spikes on all this stuff and all over that side of the yard and everything. They could have just come through here and cleaned house one night. Again, waking up in the morning to find, you know, 90% of our flower spikes just gone. So definitely need to get out here and get those taken care of. Not going to be anything worth looking at, so we're not going to actually walk down there to look at it. But if you see down there where all that zebra grass is growing in that sort of half moon shape, in fact, right where I stopped mowing, this whole bottom section, we've sprinkled wildflower seeds, and we're trying to sort of work this again, it's like I know it's kind of hard to tell on video, but it's like a straight line from here over to here, and then this is just this sort of stupid, we don't like, what is the point of having lawn right there? It's just weird. So we're going to get that tried to cover with wildflowers, and again, just sort of this flat area around the house is where we're going to have grass, and then all of this hillside and all this stuff and all over there, we don't need it. What do we do? You know, it's not like we have Easter egg hunts all over, you know, as we just do nothing with the yard. So we may as well make it garden, and then I don't have to mow it anymore. So there you are, not too bad, a little over 20 minutes and we are back where we started. So make sure you're subscribed, make sure you stay tuned, because we still have all those phlox and coneflowers, and of course a bajillion and a half hostas are getting ready to open up any day now. So there will be continuing follow-ups throughout the summer. And then of course we'll eventually get to see how starkly different the yard looks in the autumn and eventually the winter, where this doesn't even look like the same property anymore. So thanks for watching, and I will see you real soon on the next one.